Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by thanking the National Association of State Fire Marshals for inviting me to speak at this year's annual conference. My name is Ryan Haywood, and I'm a lead fire inspector with the Fire Marshal's Office of South Metro Fire Rescue. I have been privileged to be part of this amazing organization for the past 6 years. Before joining the fire service, I viewed the fire department as the big red fire engine, sirens blaring, racing down the street to put out the fire and save the day. It wasn't until after I joined South Metro Fire Rescue that I realized there was so much more to fire service than just putting out fires. The Fire Marshal's Office focuses on fire prevention throughout our community. We do this through plan reviews, fire inspections, fire investigations, and community risk reduction. A significant part of fire prevention involves minimizing potential risks within the community we've been sworn to protect. This brings me to my presentation topic for today, the future of community risk reduction and its vital role in the fire service. We can all agree that emergency fire service is an ever-changing industry. We can also agree that most fire departments' mission and vision will involve protecting their community and its personnel from risks. The way a fire department responded to emergencies and protected its community 30 years ago is not how it will defend its community today and into the future. The risks that community can potentially face are increasing and becoming ever more hazardous. A fire department needs to evolve and be prepared for new hazards as they arise. The department's goal is to protect life and property and reduce injuries to civilian population and emergency responders. In that case, its community risk reduction program must continue evolving and adopting as well. A fire department that is purposeful in its community risk reduction program will be successful protecting its community and hold true to the organization's mission and vision. I'll say that one more time. A fire department that is purposeful in its community risk reduction program will successfully protect its community and hold true to the organization's mission and vision. The fire service culture has been built on years of tradition and specific functionality. It has been defined as a profession dedicated to saving lives through emergency response and conducting rescues, operating primarily as a reactive force when fires and emergencies arise. The fire service has continually evolved over the years. In 1970, emergency medical services, or EMS, were added to the firefighter's plate, followed by hazardous material response, technical rescue, both on land and water, and hazardous material response calls. Also, post 9/11 terrorist response preparation, showcasing the dynamic nature of the profession. The 21st century is added to the list of hazards for which fire departments must also be prepared. Since the beginning of the fire service, firefighters have been protecting their communities from the risks they will encounter, serving as a quick response or reactive process to emergencies. It is of the utmost importance to transition to efforts that prevent potential risks, not just respond to them. This crucial shift can be achieved through community risk reduction programs and their integration into the fire service. These programs are not just beneficial, but necessary to help fire departments adopt a proactive approach to community risks rather than just relying solely on quick response. The future of fire prevention. All the different departments within an organization will need to be committed to community risk reduction. This approach will allow for integrated risks reduction culture throughout the organization and the unity will help fire departments achieve their mission and vision. So the future of fire prevention needs to be looked at as the same way a strategic plan is implemented for an organization. All departments within the organization must be committed to community risk reduction. This approach will allow for an integrated risk reduction culture. This mindset would help coordinate fire suppression and emergency response, fire prevention services and code compliance, and risk reduction. The fire prevention services, community risk reduction programs would need to work together to achieve the overall mission of the organization. Similar to how firefighting combined with emergency medical service or EMS to provide better care, this approach will do the same thing, but on a larger scale. Public safety and risk reduction go hand in hand. Personnel risk reduction has a direct correlation on public safety. Reducing the risk to fire department personnel will also decrease the risk to community members. Emergency responders' jobs descriptions involve them taking risks while protecting the community. Identifying and addressing risks to personnel improves their overall safety and their ability to reduce risks within the community. Utilizing the 6 steps of the community risk reduction approach will help fire departments establish clear directives and set SMART goals for reaching desired outcomes. Once risks are identified, we can implement SMART goals in our organization's strategic plan. The beauty of SMART goals is their adaptability. They can be set for both short-term and long-term goals, allowing us to be responsive to the ever-changing landscape of risk reduction. Identifying specific personnel risks, followed by prioritizing, discussing and strategizing, preparing the community risk reduction plan, implementation, and then monitor, evaluate, and modify as needed. This example shows how risk reduction can drive comprehensive SMART goals through community risk reduction programs. If a fire department's goal is to reduce casualties and damage in fires and accidents, a risk assessment identifies the area with the highest number of victims. In this case, the province of Utrecht. As risk assessment identifies the area with the highest number of victims, again, Utrecht, and the occupancy location of the fires, industrial sites in Amsterdam municipality. With this information, the fire department can set clear SMART goals to move in the right direction to reduce these risks. Community risk reduction can also begin working on changing the human behavior in these locations to reduce casualties, injuries, and fires. Community risk reduction can also work with individuals in these areas through education programs, community outreach, and site inspections. Community risk reduction could review and help implement evacuation plans for these industrial locations. They could also explain the importance of potentially utilizing a fire warden on site and scheduling fire drills. These are just a few examples of working with citizens and community outreach. Similar to the sites in the Amsterdam municipality, understanding the community and its diverse population is critical for a thriving community outreach program. Topics must address all ages and demographics within that community. Community risk reduction can utilize data to identify where certain age groups or demographics have a higher concentration throughout the jurisdiction. From there, they can see the highest risks in those areas and meet the community where they are. For instance, if they see a higher number of calls from the elderly community for fall assistance, they can target assisted living communities, nursing homes, and communities where more older adults live alone. Focusing on these areas will provide better results if the community, focusing on these areas will provide a better result than if the community risk reduction just launched an outreach program across the entire jurisdiction, thus saving time and resources that are limited in most fire departments. The same can be done in older communities that may not have smoke detectors installed in their homes. Specific demographics may not understand or know the importance of home smoke detectors, and working with these citizens can tremendously impact the community. Your next question may resemble this one. How can fire educator groups be motivated and prepared for effective and diverse fire safety education programs? Comes down to training, education, and personal development. Individuals tasked with education must be intrinsically motivated and passionate about fire safety. Fire departments must provide these resources for educator groups to succeed in reaching their overall goal, which is to educate a diverse community on the importance of community risk reduction. Training can start with the department as new community risk reduction specialists join the organization. The training cannot stop there, though through utilizing other organizations will be vital in the training, education, and personal development of community risk reduction educators. Some of those resources will include the National Fire Academy, located in Emmitsburg, Maryland. They provide several courses on community risk reduction and education. The International Fire Service Training Association, or ISTA, and the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, also have training available in person and online. Regarding education, it is important to help those looking to continue their academic education. So, tuition reimbursement programs are essential, and having a pay differential available for those who have obtained a degree will help keep them motivated through their college journey. Personal development will be the final piece of preparation for fire educators. Programs like Fred Pryor and LinkedIn Learning are great resources. And finally, mentorship. If your department doesn't have a program, look into how to implement one. I would not be where I am today without my mentor. What methods can be used to establish networking among communities within the state? It's a great question. It's safe to say that communities throughout the state all have similar risks. Some risks may be specific to a particular location within that state, but if your state has a community risk reduction program, contact them for assistance. Most of the time, at a state level, they're going to have a broader reaching program and planning in place. But information from their program can be used in your local jurisdiction to help you plan your community risk reduction program. Another thing to consider is if your fire department has mutual aid agreement for emergency service. South Metro has West Metro, Aurora, and Castle Rock Fire that have mutual aid agreements when responding to emergencies. Consider having a mutual aid in community risk reduction programs as well as events. There may be something that a neighboring fire department is doing that could help your community or vice versa. Finally, technology. Technology programs can help you establish a network throughout your community by making information readily available. One such program allows the fire department to deploy a free survey to identify risks within homes. Virtual Community Risk Reduction. Here's their website. It is a great resource for community risk reduction programs throughout the state. people in the community can help or can fill out their information. They answer questions about potential risks around their home. So they would select their state, put in their address, and then here are some community risk reduction questions for the home. Does your home have a working smoke alarm? Does your home have at least one CO detector? Do you have a meeting place outside your residence to meet in the event of an emergency? Do you use surge protectors if you need to plug in multiple objects? Do you have a working fire extinguisher in kitchen, laundry, or workshop garages? Is your home within 2 miles of a wildland area? Or do you have things that will burn 50 feet from your home, like trees, bushes, wood piles, and etc.? Results from the survey are generated immediately, and red and green indicators show how the questions were answered. Green indicates that you're addressing this in your home, and red indicates an area in need. Additional information can be shared to explain community risk reductions in certain places, actually certain areas, and education components can be shared. This is an excellent tool for networking within the community. So even if someone has smoke alarms, you can see here an email can be sent out that goes over the importance, and a video is actually embedded. Now, if you don't have a fire escape plan, that email comes out, it's still in red, but it goes over different things and explains the importance of it. Changes in the workforce and in society. In the same way that risks have evolved over the past few decades, changes in the fire service workforce and society as a whole have changed. The landscape of both looks significantly different from the past. Regarding workforce change, recruitment continues to be an issue within the fire service and throughout the workforce in general. As professionals in the fire service and community risk reduction begin to retire, the knowledge they possess leaves with them. For this reason, when a new employee joins the fire service, there must be a plan in place, to transfer that knowledge. Before that can happen, a fire department must produce new ways to recruit professionals to keep organizations running. Technology is an important aspect that needs to be addressed. The old adage of "this is the way it's always been done" cannot dominate a fire department's culture if it wishes to remain relevant in today's society. Embracing technology is a necessity for fire service to respond effectively to evolving risks and challenges. Community engagement can strongly influence funding for your emergency service. The economy is looking for ways to save money. Engaging with the community will help them understand the importance of taxes and continuing financial support for fire department. As we discussed earlier, the requirements of a firefighter have changed, leading to more stressful and physically taxing job duties. This directly correlates to the mental health of professionals in the fire service. Thankfully, there have been advances in mental health, but we as fire service have a long way to go. Society has also changed a lot over the past few decades. Economically, the world platform looks different due to modernization and technology. However, advances in technology have created new risks and hazards. For instance, although a tremendous advancement in society, a microchip processing plant or lithium battery production facility bring new hazards, causing the fire service to adapt to a new way of protecting these facilities and their hazards. Urbanization is also causing more communities to be placed in wildland interface zones. As the population grows, wilderness is transitioned into land development, ultimately communities, creating more areas where the built environment meets and intermingles with nature. Lastly, political and legal changes create their own set of hazards with each new election. However, I'm not here to discuss politics, so I will remain focused on the topic of community risk reduction. Community risk reduction leadership within the fire department. Community risk reduction chief officer must be the fire department's agent for change. They will have to become students of the change they seek within their fire department. Leading by example will include a genuine acceptance of risk reduction throughout an organization. They will have to model the correct actions and attitude to substantiate a positive stance in developing and managing a successful risk reduction program. The community risk reduction chief officers must stay ahead of the curve when utilizing all the resources their department and other agencies offer. They will need to understand how constant change is a constant and be able to adapt their community risk reduction program to the changing landscape that makes up their jurisdiction. Community risk reduction cannot just be a box the fire department checks to obtain an ISO rating. As we look to the future of community risk reduction, we must maintain sight of the foundational principles the fire service was built upon and the rich culture of protecting its communities. Instead, the fire service must build upon the rich fire service culture and expand its umbrella of protection to more than just operations and prevention and a small percentage for community risk reduction. Everyone must work together if the fire service wants to continue protecting their communities. Challenges must be met with strategic planning, forward-thinking leadership, and comprehensive problem solving. Utilizing community risk reduction with every organization designated to protect the community is the only way community risk reduction programs can overcome the challenges they will face. Utilizing the police, emergency management, public health, community organizations, it's got to be a group effort. A fire department that is purposeful in its community risk reduction program will successfully protect its community and hold true to the organization's mission and vision. They have to realize the past is in the head, the future is in their hands. Thank you.